David Cameron, the former Prime Minister, by then the Prime Minister of Britain, apologized to the people of the world and Africa, and Libya in particular, that there was no evidence suggesting that there were weapons of mass destruction that were going to be pointed at Europe or United Kingdom. Then why did we go to kill Libya? Why didn't we kill the enemy? If we had enemies, perceived enemies that we always talk about in Africa. What lessons can Africa and African countries learn out of this? What can African countries learn out of the dismembering of Libya that was once a prosperous economy, a social structured economy, a social structured country, a politically awake country, a country that was productive, whose economy, whose supply of resources to its people was equitably done so. The world has a stage, and that world has a stage, as Shakespeare said. But the stage must be not uniform. If you are laying nails on your bed, always leave space for retreat, because tomorrow you might need that space to run away from the nails. The nails might be piercing, and you need a space without the nails. Therefore, in my commentary, this is an editorial commentary that I've made in 2011. Bombs started on this particular day, like the 23rd, Libya was dismembered. What lessons has Africa learned? What lessons has Europe learned? What lessons has Obama, as he sits in his retirement, what does he regret about bombarding Libya? Clinton, Mrs. Clinton, as Secretary of State for Africa, for United States of America, what reasons prompted them to bomb Libya? Sarkozy, when you sit up in Paris, when you took Gaddafi's money and used the Gaddafi's money to campaign, and today you are being sentenced, you are being taken to court for campaigning using Gaddafi's money to influence elections in France in order to win another term. Don't you feel ashamed before you reach God to apologize to the people of Africa and the people of Libya for having dismembered their country on the pretext that they were weapons of mass destruction? Ladies and gentlemen, a situation of this nature arises all the time in Africa. A situation of this nature, we have several examples on the continent of Africa, where regime change has been fronted by the West as the only alternative that can bring out a change. They did this on Zimbabwe. They wanted Mugabe to be removed violently. They failed. They gave plenty of money to Morgan Tsvangirai and a group. They pumped the opposition with all promises of good life. The regime did not change. It has been proved, therefore, that it is very difficult in the Western, in the third world, for sanctions. And once sanctions are heaped on a certain targeted or overall sanctions, targeted to that particular country, a regime will collapse. It is sad, therefore, for the people of Libya to be in this type of circumstances, where medicine is impossible, where schooling is impossible, where economy, bread, prices of loaves, scarcity of goods is the order of the day, where their infrastructure has been broken down, airports, good airports that Muammar Gaddafi had actually built, have gone. What would one remember on such a day, a darker day in the history of the Libyan people and Africa? There is nowhere on the continent of Africa that you'd go and fail to find Mr. Gaddafi's symbol. Gaddafi's symbol on the continent of Africa stood high. Gaddafi, on his last days in the palace, in his office, warned us of terrorists who had come to occupy Libya. Did we change from a bad person that we had called a madman to terrorists? Did we arm terrorists who took over Libya by then? Did we really arm civilians whom people claimed were protecting themselves? Who are the people who took over Libya? We saw the factions. We have seen several of the factions turning guns on each other. Is it the same mistake that we have done in Syria? In Syria, in Syria, we have seen quite a lot of difficulties that have killed, dismembered, and this allowed quite a lot of made things very difficult. It is therefore very, very important for the people of this continent of Africa to make sure that they learn from the experiences, they learn from what has happened to Libya. Look at what goes on in Syria. We said Assad was a bad person. We brought all the stories of chemical weapons, of so many things. Yes, these things could have been there. But what is the use of killing the entire Syrian nation, destroying it, and allowing refugees now to die in one of the oceans, and they die in the English Channel trying to reach United Kingdom?